Hello, everyone, and welcome to next exciting episode of Let's Rant. For the special month of November, we were short an episode, so figured that this would be a great time for us to bring back the nice one-off series Let's Rant to make sure that we have a proper schedule before we head into our December month. Speaking of December, for this rant, I actually wanted a different one. However, I realized quite quickly that in my strict do not recommend PCP policy, none of the boys really understood what I was ranting about when I talked about Golden Hour, which I compared to as December 2.0. Mostly because they never heard about December. We're gonna fix that. So, to set the stage, let us take a look at the boys that we have with us today. First on the list, we have with us Cav.
Hello, I'm back.
Also joining us is Naira.
I prefer the albino rhino. Thank you very much.
Always. Well, that is the unspoken. That's the quiet part said out loud. Also here with us is our good friend Ray.
Oh, I have to speak.
You have to introduce yourself at least.
I'm taking a BDSM test right now. I hope that makes your video interesting.
You fool. We've all taken, well, not all of us, but doing the BDSM test was like months ago. We already
You have to
filled that
retake
out.
it. You're retaking it. You have to retake it.
He failed.
Well, at minimum, he's got to share the results at the end.
That's the problem, is that I've taken this before, but the results were like lost to time, and I don't care enough about it to keep the results, so.
Congratulations, dude, you're still gay!
Also joining us is, last but not least, Stanton High.
Hello, everybody. Let's hear Amazil get into it. I hope you bring some emotion with this one, Amazil.
Oh, believe me, I have been sitting on these emotions for 10 years, almost 10 years.
Okay.
Also joining us is, in the Magic 8 Ball, our good friend Loki. His spirit is now trapped inside this 8 ball, and we communicate with him through the air. Alright, so let's not waste any more time. Let's get into
I'm actually the producer of this show.
Oh my god.
No, you're not, you liar.
I love how Stanton decided to speak up the moment that Loki said something that suggests that he did any amount of work on this stuff.
Think I'm not ready for this?
There's only two people who really work on this show. So, and now that we know the whole rogues gallery, let me do a little more setup here. So, for those of you who don't know, which is probably going to be a lot of you, I love webcomics. And I've probably read over 50 plus webcomics, and I love them. I love them all. Some less than others, but most of them, I'd say, have their own place. I am very comfortable and happy recommending them to whoever. But only one is one that I would not recommend. Never. Until it's over. Until it's done. And that is Bittersweet Candy Bowl. I have a long love-hate relationship with this son of a bitch. And today we are going to be tackling one of its most notorious, its most infamous chapter in its entire history. And debatably so. Because there's been some weird, real bad choices recently. We'll get into that later. So without further ado, let's get into it. This is December. To really understand why people hate December as much as we do, you must put yourself in the shoes of a dedicated reader. We're going to transport ourselves back to the year of 2011. A simpler time, a dark time. And we start off with one of my personal favorite pages in Bittersweet Candy Bowl. Snow! Fucking snow! Fuck yeah! Let's hear it for snow! It's goddamn snow!
Yay!
Yo. I hate snow.
Alright, that may seem like an overreaction, but let me set the stage for you, alright? Because at the time that this chapter came out, I was a dedicated reader. And I mean full-blown fan, waiting for the hour for it to change to read the pages as they came out. And at this time, Teshi was going through a real rough patch, and it was quite apparent to everyone who was in the community. The plot seemed to stagnate, and there wasn't much happening. Teshi's behavior had grown very strained, and it was the common consensus that she needed to take a break. So she did. And in order to take a break, the upload schedule turned to 2 pages a week. The problem was that up to this point, Bittersweet Candy Bowl was uploading on an every other day upload schedule. The problem that comes when you slow down your schedule like that is that it's meant to be temporary, or that you compensate that with content in the pages and chapter that makes the wait more bearable, or at least less tedious. Now, with all that in mind, imagine, if you will, that you had to wait 4 days for a new page to start a new chapter, and you were greeted by fucking snow. Just snow. And dread filled your heart as you realized you'd have to stare at snow for another full 2 days before you could look at something else and hope that it's more interesting than fucking snow.
Oh yeah, vacation time soon.
Count to 10. Count to 10.
I'm sorry about him, Abby.
It's fine. I have other things to worry about.
At least Christmas is coming.
That's my problem.
I lose my mom in Christmas. The next page does not disappoint, though, because now we actually have characters and dialogue.
Ah, shit, Abby!
Sorry for being late. Apparently, I needed my coat cleaned.
But Noodles, your precious coat was full of snow. And look, a joke. Except, look at all these characters in this page. You got Daisy, you got Paolo, you got Abby, you got David, you got Sir Noodles, and you got a reinforcing action to remind us about how Abby and Paolo's relationship is. That's how many or which of these characters actually matter in this chapter or have an effect on it. Yeah, that's right, none of them. Not a single fucking one of these characters matter. Not a single fucking thing in this page fucking matters at all. It barely even constitutes as a setup for the rest of the chapter. Congratulations, we just wasted a week of your time. Actually, I was wrong. You know what the one and only thing that this page does that means anything? There! That one fucking line. You waited a whole fucking week to digest 2 pages, and all it really tells you that you didn't know is what fucking time it is. Except even that is told to you by the title of the fucking chapter. I am losing my shit this early because I want to make it abundantly clear just how infuriating this chapter was to read. This was when I realized we were in for a long ride. To better understand this, the chapters that preceded this one were centered around Lucy's slow decline into depression after her friendship with Mike had become fractured, leading to her isolating or at least distancing herself from Mike and the rest of the gang by proxy. This chapter was built to be the culmination of all that fallout, which makes this pacing so grating.
So, class, Monday is the last day of the school year. And what would be a better way to round off the unit with a World War II essay due on your final day?
Thankfully, page 3 actually does have characters that matter, and actually is a setup for what the chapter is going to be centered around, which is the kids working on a World War II essay. Okay, Naira, you are going to be playing the role of the Grey Cat. He is Mike. Say hello to Mike, everybody. I said say hi!
I'm
Hello,
Mike.
Mike.
Oh, Mike Wazowski.
He does have green eyes, and they are quite round.
Relax. You'll be partnered up. Phoebe and Ryan, Jake and David, Thomas and Melanie, Leslie and Paolo, Daisy and Simon, Cheryl and John, Bianca and Abraham.
Fine!
And we finally get a bit of substance to sink our teeth into. But before we go any further, I should tell you a bit about my man, Mike. So Mike is a moody bitch. I talked a bit about what happened to Lucy, but Mike, despite literally nothing happening to him directly since then, aside from the rest of the gang not understanding why he wanted to separate from Lucy, is still being moody and bitchy. And we see him reach peak moody Mike.
I know what's coming. Go on, announce the most predictable pairing of the class, stuck with Lucy, as usual. Thanks. It's fine. No, really.
Huh? Wow. That's an actually good quote. Good joke. I appreciated it when it came out.
I was actually going to pair you with Susan, but if you're going to make a fuss about it, yes, you're with Lucy. Susan, you've got Cletus.
Shoot. And so, because Mike is being a moody bitch, he ends up sealing his fate and is paired with Lucy. And for a second here, I had hope, since Teshi is pretty much declaring how frustrating and stupid Mike's moodiness has been for the past number of chapters. Also, while we're here, I'd like to point out how everyone in this page apparently got their arms lopped off. I mean, look! Look at that! Look at that shit. That's not right.
Amazon, they're
Poor
just at the absolute perfect angle for you to not see their forearms because they're bending their they're bending at the elbows, and they're at the perfect angle where you can't see any of the forearm or hand for that to work.
It's not possible. Look at the perspective of the desk. For that to happen, their hand is slipping through the desk.
They just sliced their
Look,
arms.
look. They took their hands, they shoved it into their chest, and they're all vigorously gripping their hearts right now. That's what's going on.
I'm with no one. I really struggled to draw that part of an arm too, so I would probably do the same.
You could just draw. Okay, it's very simple. Just draw a line that goes like there, and then if you want to be lazy, you can just like draw a lump there for the hand. It's simple. Just there.
I was gonna say, can't you do like just like a circle at the end of it if you're really fucking lazy?
I forgot. This is art,
I have
not
to say,
me.
arms
That's what
are
I
not
do.
arms are not that hard to draw. I just have to say, it's
Yeah.
not hard.
Freaking
They're
artist.
just lumps.
Well, at least Lucy was able to find her right arm at the end there. Look, it's gone the first panel, there in the second. But also, look at Abby. Oh, look at him. You can see how he cares about Mike's position on distancing from Lucy. Ah, such a good friend. Ah, he's definitely not going to make a heel turn and accuse others of not caring about Mike. That's not fair.
What's that, Lucy? You're a hypocrite?
The quicker we get this essay done, the quicker you can have a weekend alone.
Why not?
Anyway, the next page is Mike and Lucy deciding to go to the library to work on the essay. It, must be fun having a little brother, huh?
It's really not a big deal.
And then the page after that is Lucy trying to make an effort to ease the awkwardness while Mike gives her the cold shoulder. Congratulations, we have spent a week walking to the fucking library. Hey, be sure to wipe your feet. The monotony is broken up, though, as we get to see that Augustus is at the library. It doesn't stop the back and forth that we just got in the last 2 pages from continuing, though. And as a reminder, this is all that we've been given to sustain ourselves for 3 whole weeks. Wow, you let him walk all over you. Sounds like you need to have a long and serious talk about your relationship. At least Augustus is able to break up this feet dragging by giving us something different to talk about.
He's not my boyfriend. Leave me alone, okay?
Oh, shoes on the other foot now. Every recess you bug me. Why can't we talk today?
Don't want to piss him off any further.
Ooh, look, something actually interesting. We get some insight into Lucy and Augustus's relationship. For context, Augustus has been a very interesting side character, one of the best, and his relationship with Lucy is a pretty nice one with its own complexities and great chemistry. As I've mentioned before, Lucy has spent the last few chapters isolating herself from Mike to try to let things cool off and respect his wishes. In that time, she ended up finding company in Augustus, the resident bad boy. He was suspected of attempted rape on Daisy, but we're not going to talk about that.
Ow.
How what?
How do you deal with it?
Well, maybe a little.
Rejection. I know you aren't happy about what happened with Daisy. You cope. Just about ready to give up on everything.
Lucy expresses what she's dealing with, and like before, she's trying to find understanding from Augustus. Do you have parents?
Yes?
A place to sleep?
Yeah?
In a safe neighborhood?
What?
And you want to die because some stupid kid won't return your feelings. You're absolutely worthless. And he is having none of it, As someone who actually had serious problems, he calls Lucy out for being a privileged blue-eyed white cat whose only problem in life is being rejected by someone she loves.
White privilege.
Exactly.
Lucy is the 1%.
Her father is a fucking race car driver. The difference between us is I've come to terms with the idea that Daisy isn't interested in me. No matter how much it hurts me to see it, he keeps her happy. I guess that keeps me going. It's from a distance, but I know she's smiling. But Augustus gives Lucy some advice in how he sees and deals with his situation, showing that while he does think Lucy is stupid for even thinking about killing herself over Mike, he does want to help her. It's just, he's wrong. He's so fucking wrong.
What's wrong?
Why? Why are you always taking his side?
We now know through the power of hindsight that Abby and Daisy's relationship was a total sham. It wasn't a healthy, loving relationship at all. It was all a lie. Gotta love them retcons, am I right?
You done yet?
Nah, we haven't even started to begin.
Don't belong to you, you know.
I know. Just be a little less obvious.
Start this damn thing before I end up punching you.
Anyway, Augustus leaves and we're back to this bullshit. Now Mike's not just being moody, he's being judgy. Oh no, fuck you, Lucy. I don't want anything to do with you. I want you to be out of my life. Hey, what are you doing? Talking and having a conversation with someone I don't care about? Stop being such a leech. Just because I don't want you to be in my life doesn't mean you can just go around and move on to find company in other people. Why don't you just die alone and unloved? But don't worry, right after, Lucy breaks the ice and gets a smile out of the boy. It's a breath of fresh air, and we see the dynamic with the two is still there, and... Nah, I didn't buy that when the page came out either. It's meant to portray that Lucy can make Mike feel better and break him out of his funk, but, yeah, at this point I knew better. By the way, it has now been one whole month of December, and we're only a third of the way through.
So, you're okay finishing this up at home?
What you said before was right. Getting this done tonight means we won't have to meet up again.
And thankfully, we're out of the library. And even more fortunately, Teshi learned that you don't have to spend 2 whole updates on moving your characters from one location to the other. She's learned you can smash 2 pages together and not waste your audience's fucking time. Oh, this is Haley. I will have to take the role of Haley. Does anyone want to be a baby today?
I can.
Oh, you're in this one.
Where's Psycho when you need him?
Yeah, I know. I miss him. Ray!
A Ray baby.
God damn it!
You got to be the baby. Famous
What
rapper.
character is that?
Just say the Lucy, Lucy.
Yeah. Lucy?
Hi, Haley. Hi, Chris.
It's been a while. Are you getting sick of my stupid brother?
Lucy, Lucy!
Perfect.
Oh, I'll never tire of Chris.
Lucy, come on.
Maybe you can fix the stick of his ass that appears whenever he's not on the phone with Sandy. As for the actual content of this page, Lucy and Mike go to Mike's house, and we get a bit of Lucy interacting with Mike's family and how they get along well. Mike's still moody as ever, though, and we get our first glimpse that things aren't perfect for him. Also, R.I.P. the boy Chris. He ain't dead, but I do miss him. Alright. References coming up, and it'll be up to you whether or not you get it.
And screw it.
Anyway, the two go to Mike's room to study, and it's still awkward until Lucy breaks the silence.
I ain't one to argue with a good thing. She could be my wife.
That good?
Best 30 seconds of my life.
Old joke is old, but I love it nonetheless. Please tell me someone got it. Anyone, please.
I do get it.
Thank you. Of course, the whitest one gets it.
I got it.
Yay!
I'm insufficiently white, and I think we've all established this, so.
All right, the actual page.
Why don't we let off a little steam and play some good old Super Boxer Champions?
We still have...
Still have Friday and the weekend.
Okay, enough fooling around. Actually, Lucy decides that she's tired of pussyfooting around and decides to say fuck it and let off some steam by playing some video games like old time. Mike is of course denying it and content in stewing in his anger, but Lucy is adamant about doing something to break this stupid cycle of drama. I like it. Even though I didn't buy the bit of Lucy making Mike laugh by showing a funny face, this one I do like. And while some, especially at the time, would point to this as an example of Lucy manipulating Mike to get what she wants and making him not angry at her, I would say, shut the fuck up and let me have this one, just this once. I have been so goddamn content starved. This fucking drama has been going around in circles for almost 2 years. Mike and Lucy haven't talked or advanced their positions in months. Let me embrace this one light in darkness before it's snuffed out. Let me have hope.
If it'll shut you up.
Thank you. And so after a bit of time lapse, we get to see Mike and Lucy playing together and how the turns tabled.
Spent some nights at home practicing like hell just to get good enough. And boy, have the tables turned.
Yeah, it only took you 3 years.
Oh, shut up.
It's great, and we even get a glimpse at how Lucy has been progressing herself, perhaps the improvement in gaming being a metaphor of her own self-improvement. We even get a bit of Mike reflecting and think how it is nice, and remembering that Lucy isn't really that bad.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh man, I'm never gonna figure out the counter.
So you've actually avoided playing video games all this time?
Most of mine are only good for 2 players.
The scene continues, and we get a peek into Mike's circumstance, as Mike kind of reveals that he himself has felt quite alone without Lucy there. And it's really touching. It's good character development.
Ike? Another round?
Sure.
And Lucy continues to take initiative to stop the awkwardness by giving Mike a distraction, not looking to fill the hole in his heart, not looking to force him to accept her, but allowing him to enjoy himself in the moment. It's nice. It's really nice.
Who is that?
You know, it's a long text.
Oh.
You know, it was really nice.
Wait a minute.
What?
Didn't we read this during your last rant, like this part?
I showed you glimpses. You don't understand the whole thing. We're going to read the whole thing now. That's why I have to read this one.
That's it. You're getting context to this furry. Ike? You're...
Ladies and gentlemen,
What happened?
You should get going.
this is December.
What the hell do you mean? I haven't seen you that happy in months. I want to know why.
Don't ruin this for me. You're better off leaving.
Don't be so weird. What'd she say?
None of your business.
Oh, Mike, come on.
Hey, lay off. It's nothing to do with you.
Please tell me why you want me to leave.
Do you really want to know?
Yes, because we're meant to be friends and friends tell each other everything.
It's because Sandy's coming to visit next week.
That's good. I'm really happy for you, okay? I need this. If there's someone who can make you happy again, I'm glad.
Talking like I wasn't happy already. You think I've been miserable all this time? Like I'm someone you need to help? But you haven't noticed? Every problem has been down to you. You only see me upset because you're always around.
Mike, come on.
Shut up and listen! I told you once already. I am no longer your babysitter, and yet you still try to talk to me.
Do it because I'm your friend and I still...
I don't want you to be!
That's your
I
line.
hate you. I hate you, Lucy. I hate you!
Oh,
I've wanted to say it all this time. I really have. I've never been your friend. You've never treated me anything like one. And Sandy helped me understand. Hello?
Hello, Michael.
I missed hearing that. Too bad this phone isn't cordless. I need to sit down.
Why?
It's just my friend Lucy. You remember her, right?
No.
Well, anyway, I guess I annoyed her so much that she needed to deck me in the shin.
We're gonna say decked.
I hate how that sentence is constructed. I hate
kick
it.
you in the shin.
But I definitely... Sandy?
Michael, are you okay?
Yeah.
Are you gonna tell the teacher?
No.
Why not?
Why would I?
You sound hoarse. It's cute, but
Oh, I guess I was yelling a lot today.
was it that girl again?
Lucy? Yeah, she was over playing games and threw the biggest tantrum. We were both screaming pretty loud. She tried to slap me across my face at the end of it, but I was
Fucked. Yeah.
Right in the shins.
Yeah. I'm gonna deck you in the shins if you don't read this proper, Naira.
She tried to slap me across my face at the end of it, but I was fast enough too. Sandy?
Why do you let her do that?
Huh?
She hurts you. What kind of person does that?
She has a temper, but she's a good person. Really?
Do you love her?
What? No, of course not. Why would you?
Why do you put up with her?
She's my friend.
A real friend would never hurt you. Ever.
It's not like that. Hi, Sandy.
Michael, you got a cold?
No, just a nosebleed.
Am I that cute? Oh, God, kill me.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised. Sandy? Look, it's fine. I'm okay. I was kind of being an idiot anyway.
This girl,
Lucy?
whatever her name is, I don't think I like her at all.
People were nice to me so long as I played nice with you. And I gave in. Sandy snapped me out of it, reminding me that my happiness is worth something too. I really have no reason to care about you.
Mike.
Which is why I'm leaving the table in January. If I left now, there would be so much stupid drama, especially with the play going on. But when that's over, I'll have no reason to stay.
But you won't have any friends.
Who says they won't join me? If I leave, Daisy will follow. She's one of my best friends without a doubt. Abby will come with her, and Paolo and Daisy are really close, so he'll join along. And David, he follows Paolo anywhere. Me alone? Not likely.
Paolo wouldn't leave me.
Oh yeah? Why not? He's not yours. Face it, your dumb rebound doesn't even love you. Nobody does. Why would they? You're a parasite.
I'm starting to feel bullied. Don't leave.
Why? Am I all you got?
No,
You are so damn selfish and transparent. Clinging to me like I'm the only one who cares about you. Pushing everyone else away because you think they're only interested in your looks. Well, maybe you were right. Nobody can love you for who you are.
The time is 1 month. That's how long this scene lasted in real time. Everyone who was a fan in 2011, everyone who had been so deeply invested in these characters, watching them grow, interact, struggle, and suffer for years, all of them could only watch for 1 entire month as Teshi ripped their hearts out. People defended this scene when it came out. There are still people who defend this scene to this day, saying that Mike was right. I wasn't one of those people. When this scene came out, I was shocked. I couldn't understand what was going on, but I knew it was wrong. It was the first time I ever got into a discussion about BCB because I just had to understand what the fuck was happening and why. Why is this happening? Why would Mike do this? How is this possible? And the only response I got was that I just couldn't understand. And, they were right. I didn't understand. I was never really abused as a child. I never had bad friends or was really bullied except one time. There was no way I could grasp what the fuck just happened, which felt so bizarre because when this chapter came out, I was 15. I was the same age as these characters, and I couldn't fathom doing what Mike just did. I couldn't imagine any of my friends saying what Mike just said, and yet everyone else seemed to understand, to the point I thought that I was the weird one. Did I just fucking win the social lottery or something and just not have any shitty friends? Maybe so, but, after all these years doing and thinking about December, which has haunted me as I'm sure it has many other readers, and after all this time running around my head and arguing about it, I think I finally understand. I get it. I finally get what Mike's saying here. Before we continue, though, what do you think? That is the entire December scene.
So if I may immediately add something to this, all these storylines, anytime they are ever brought up in media, I fucking despise them.
What kind of storyline?
So like the storyline of like nobody likes you. If I leave, all of the friends will come with me. Like you're a social pair. Like it just, I hated these storylines. Maybe it's because like you, Amazon, or like I didn't have shitty friends, or maybe it was because I was a guy. But like these always felt so extremely unrealistic to me.
Yeah.
It's insane. And also like growing up in a small like community where like your school, your graduating class is 69 people.
Yeah.
You don't get along with everybody, but like everybody. I like the idea that something like this could ever happen is just retarded.
Yeah. Well, we do have a non-man here. Cav, do you relate to this? How does it feel to have your heart ripped out?
Now, I don't relate to it. I didn't have all this nonsense when I was in high school. But seems really like mean-spirited. Maybe I'm missing out on context on what kind of stuff she did. But I'm guessing she's like just a dumb teenager doing dumb teenager things.
Yeah, essentially. And I do go up into it a bit, like what she did or what people like what the main problem with it supposedly is. But to briefly go over it, so she did pick on Mike a lot, and there was a few hitting, but a lot of it was done as. Bear in mind, this comic was made in like 2007, and so it was a lot of those scenes were done for slapstick and for comedic effect, and so now it's like coming up as, oh, now this is an actually serious thing, and you should have been taking it seriously this whole time.
That's a weird tonal shift.
Oh, it is definitely.
This sounds like this really to me just sounds like that one comic that everybody memes where like it was a comedic comic to start off with that he does the fucking abortion scene or whatever the hell it was.
Are you talking
Oh wait,
about,
no, it was the miscarriage
are you
scene.
talking about Euphoria?
Oh, we're talking about Control Alt Delete.
No, but like
he's talking about loss.
But like the thing is, right, like a lot of comics did that shit. It was so like just to use a modern term, it was so fucking cringe. All of them transitioned from comedy comics to fucking dramas, and everybody's like, this sucks. I hate it.
Yeah. No, I'm not disagreeing with you, not at all. I'm just glad that you made the comparison and I didn't.
I'm gonna
It's so impossible to not make the comparison.
I do want to say that was kind of hard to read, like out loud.
It was hard to read 2 pages per week, man. We had to read that thing for a whole month.
Like, I'm kind of a cunt a lot, but I don't like being that mean to people, and having to read that was that was something.
Oh yeah, it's amazing.
I like this. Like, I'll be fair. Like him being like, "Oh, all the friends will come with me," sounds like some dumb thing that a teenager would say. But like, there's no weight to it.
Yeah, but it's still fucking bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah, like every single time I've ever seen a friendship relationship break apart, people have to pick sides, and the people involved hate it. They absolutely despise it.
Oh yeah, like that's literally what happens in January. Spoilers, Naira, you fucking didn't read it yet. I know you haven't.
This is just like from a writing standpoint, this just kind of bugs me is whenever characters are involved in a fight and then just one person talks for 5 minutes. Real arguments don't flow that way. Artistic flair. There's also like speech that I wouldn't characterize as like a typical teenager, but maybe that's part of his character too.
I've
They
been
call
in,
it schlock.
I've been in
Yes.
plenty of fights with people that have been like this, but that's because I'm typically not willing to, interject when people go on like this type of tirade.
Are they usually this eloquent?
Well, to be fair, he is in law school, so I mean, he might be.
Like I have personally gone off on a friend in this kind of way, but not nearly as this mean. Like I just like there was something about him that he always did that just bothered me, and one day like it just finally boiled over, and I just had to like let him know like how much it bothered me.
Yeah.
And you know what happened? We became closer friends from that.
Yeah.
That's usually how this goes. Is that like if you care about someone, you like it finally boils over and you're like, look, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to yell at you, but like, god damn it, it just pisses me off. This social parasite thing,
Yeah.
I've seen this plot. I don't even know where exactly, but I've seen it so many times. And it's just so stupid to me because I don't know anybody who thinks like this.
I saw it in the Office parody that someone made on YouTube, where Jim calls Dwight a social parasite and says that no one likes him.
Let us actually continue into what I've said. So that being said, as the boys have concluded, no, this scene is still bullshit. I understand what Mike's saying here, but no, this is still bullshit. And let me tell you why. First of all, look at this face. Just look at that dopey, doe-eyed, cute cat girl right there. Because you will never see that again. But just to recap, let's start with the actual preamble to the bullshit. Mike gets a text from Sandy, which makes him revert back to his moody Mike self. And I will say, at least here, Mike is in character. He's been a bitch this whole chapter, and he's just snapping back to it because he's reminded, oh yeah, Sandy exists. So he tells Lucy to beat it. Lucy is understandably frustrated because we were seeming to finally get to a better place between these two characters, and instead of Mike being upfront about what his problem is, he chooses to shut down the conversation and act like there's nothing. Or to put it in another way,
maybe I should dance around the subject and give everyone headaches. There, problem solved. The Lucy way.
So what exactly is causing Mike to revert to his moody mode? Right, of course. It's because Sandy's coming, and just to catch up those of us blessed enough not to remember, this is Sandy, Mike's long-time, long-distance girlfriend and central conflict for BCB for the past, well, for pretty much most of BCB at this point. Mike loves her, bordering on the point of obsession, to where most of his actions in BCB can be linked directly to Sandy. We'll get to that later, but this is all you really need to know right now. Just briefly keep that in mind. I can't do a fucking Mickey. Does anyone know how to do a Mickey?
Surprise tool that will help us later.
Huh?
Also, really quick, I take back what I said. I have seen people act this stupid, and it's usually always in search of pussy.
Of course, yes. The great equalizer. Lucy is surprisingly taking it in stride, or at least trying to be supportive of Mike and Sandy's relationship. Obviously, it does hurt her, but she is trying to make the best of it. Taking what Augustus had said to heart, and accepting Mike and Sandy's relationship, but still trying to be there for Mike, using that to grow and maybe be a stronger person. But sadly, this is December, and nothing is allowed to grow in December.
You think I've been miserable all this time? Like I'm someone you need to help? But you haven't noticed? Every problem has been down to you.
Well, yes. Partly because we were literally told 9 pages ago. Maybe he can fix the stick up his ass that appears whenever he's not on the phone with Sandy. I believe this is what the kids call gaslighting, but I prefer to call it bullshit. But now we're getting into it. Let's dig into the real hard bullshit of December. You ready? I'm ready.
I've never been your friend. You've never treated me anything like one.
Yes, right. Lucy is a bitch who has done absolutely nothing for Mike and never acted like a friend, or God forbid, did something selfless for Mike. Like, oh, I don't know, risking her life to save you from drowning when she herself couldn't swim and knew it could very well lead to her death? Or what about the time when she was almost raped and literally put herself between you and danger? Twice. Also, what the hell? They changed confrontation. She's supposed to say,
You hurt Mike. That's the meanest of all.
because before Mike got pinned, he was saying,
You hurt Paolo. That's not nice either. You hurt Sue. That's the worst. She's smart.
that's good. That was like an actually cool and badass line. One of the best moments in BCP. Why would you change it? Why would you change it to something as soft as that? And I'm the guy who wrote a comic where the moral of the story is that you can solve everything through the power of friendship. But I digress. Was Lucy mean to Mike? Yeah. Did she pick on him a lot in the early chapters? Sure. But here's the thing that people seem to forget about those early volumes.
Izuna, get up, get up, get up, get up.
Almost there.
Better luck next time, Lucy.
Mike was kind of a little shit back then. Lucy often picked on Mike because he was doing something wrong, like trying to treat her like Sandy. And lest you forget, Mike was more than capable of doing the exact same thing. Yes, Lucy picked on Mike, but Mike also gave shit to Lucy. They were both active participants in giving shit to one another. But no, it's not bullying. It's giving someone shit or for doing something stupid to keep them grounded. It's a form of support that helps to build someone up, not just through violent means, but because you care enough to want them to stop being stupid. And as the saying goes, a good friend will hold you and support you to tell you everything will be okay no matter what. Your best friend will kick you in the side and tell you to stop being a pussy and get over it, because that's what friends fucking do. They don't lift you up, they make you pick yourself up. And you know why Mike is thinking this way? You want to know what the fucking cherry on top of this bullshit cake is? Sandy. Motherfucking Sandy. Up to this point, Sandy herself had little to no presence as a person in the story. I mean, she had an effect on a lot of things, but as an actual character, we never got to see much of her personality outside of one standalone chapter, To the Top, which only served to give us a shallow and basic understanding of her character. But even then, as far as actual personality, writing, hobbies, and chemistry, we really didn't get much at all as far as understanding who she is. The only thing we know for certain was that she's in a long-term, long-distance relationship with Mike. She's a model, she goes to school, and she's beautiful. That's it. But that, in and of itself, doesn't make Sandy a bad character. I mean, for crying out loud, two of my favorite characters that I shoehorn into all of my projects are McCain and Carter, and they're the most one-note characters in this comic. No, the problem with Sandy isn't that we don't know anything about her. It's that despite us knowing nothing about her, Sandy has her fingerprints on almost every fucking conflict in Bittersweet Candy Bowl. And worse, the only purpose she seems to have on the comic is influencing Mike. Let me pull some examples. Mike and Lucy go on an adventure into the city, which fleshes out their inner problems in their relationship, because Sandy might be there. Mike and Lucy are starting to act awkward with each other, and it's making everyone take notice. Why? Because Mike is delusional about Sandy. In the chapter directly after that, Mike is suddenly obnoxiously happy and giddy. Why? Because he finally got to talk with Sandy. It's Christmas time, and Tessa's having a party, and Mike's coming. Why? Because of fucking Sandy. Mike rebuffs Daisy's advances during the carnival date. Why? Because of Sandy. Although, to be fair, of course, there was a lot of other things going on in that scene. Primarily Daisy being really pushy and needy. So it's not just because of Sandy, it's because we just weren't ready for Slut Daisy. The free Daisy. Tess is organizing a group vacation trip to Acapulco. And what's this? Mike doesn't want to go. Is it because he thinks Lucy is gonna go and he wants to separate himself from her? Is it because he's finally woken up and decided to stand up for himself? No, you fucking idiot. It's because of motherfucking Sandy. The worst part of it all is that none of these scenes are ever directly because of Sandy's actions as a person. It's literally just because she exists. You could make up anything about Sandy and she would still have the same fucking impact on the story that she has had up to this point. All that Sandy's character has been used for is just a means of influencing Mike. And that's not a character, that's a plot device. And nothing makes that point more clear than this scene. We get a scene where Mike is talking with Sandy, and he shows how over and over Lucy's jabs and abuses, which were played for laughs in Volume 1, apparently were a super serious problem, and we should have seen them as such. Now, as a reader, I didn't buy that for a fucking second, for reasons I've already explained. However, Sandy being on the other side of that long distance relationship doesn't fully understand the situation. But still, she's very worried and concerned for Mike, which leads to this. Sandy making Mike hate Lucy. Some have pointed out that this is actually a good scene, because here we get to see that Sandy at least cares about Mike. Except that if you strip away those tears and all the bullshit, what little characterization we get here, which is shit we already know in Sandy caring about Mike and Lucy's relationship, is something that we should already know. She's in a long-term, long-distance relationship with Mike. She fucking better care about Lucy. The problem, though, is like I said, Sandy isn't treated like a fucking character. She's treated like a fucking plot device. If she were an actual character, we should have seen her actually have a back and forth with Mike. The whole conversation about Lucy should have come up a long time ago, because if she were treated like an actual character with agency, she would have already known this. You're telling me that after how many phone calls and the time that elapsed between these phone scenes, Mike never actually told her about Lucy, the other biggest part of his life? Did Mike never tell her about the amount of times that Lucy almost died to save his life, or the amount of times he did the same for her? No, because that would bring character growth. And we don't want character growth. We want to push this narrative. We want to implant these thoughts into Mike. We want him to have a victim complex so that he can do shit like this. We want to push this plot point, and Sandy is the vessel to drive it off the cliff. This is why I fucking hate December, because worst of all, this is no longer Mike speaking. This is Sandy's influence speaking. Now, literally, all the fucking shit that Mike peddled about not wanting to be Lucy's babysitter and bullshit can now be attributed to Sandy influencing how Mike sees his own friendship. And since we don't have a clear time frame of where these calls were made and when exactly Sandy got through to Mike, that means you could pick any time where Mike was being cold or distancing from Lucy and blame it on Sandy, including
I love you.
this scene.
What?
I love you.
You do?
Yes.
Lest you think
Mwah, mwah, mwah.
lest you think characters were the only casualty of December's nuclear blast, it took with it one of the most emotionally tense and moving chapters of Bittersweet Candy Bowl, A Distance Apart.
Didn't you want me before?
I did. But things happened. Now you're just. No.
I've already talked about this chapter in my rant on Golden Hour, aka December 2, Homosexual Boogaloo, so I'm not going to get too into how the perspective of this chapter was changed because of December, but I will say that lines like the above now are specifically what's tainted because of December. No longer is this Mike realizing that Lucy isn't who he thinks she is, or him realizing that their relationship is not a healthy one on his own. It's because, as he said himself, it's Sandy's fault. Because all she heard about Lucy was the negative, and now all Mike can see is the negative. And this chapter is saying it's all Sandy's fault that Mike now has a victim complex, and it's totally fair for him to say what he's about to say.
Which is why I'm leaving the table in January.
Wait, did you just say January? Nah, I'm just fucking with you. We're trying to stay focused here, so I'm holding off on the January references. Don't worry, kids. You're safe for now. For now. Let's unpack this first, because believe it or not, we still have a lot of ground to cover. Specifically, let's talk about Mike's glorious plan to leave the table. God, it is taking a lot to not just paste panels from Daisy's rant in January. You people have no idea. But to summarize, this is fucking stupid at best and manipulative at worst. What Mike is talking about is selfishly Pied Pipering their whole friend group, minus Tess because Tess doesn't exist anymore, away from Lucy. And he's betting all of that on the fact that he knows Daisy is still head over heels for him. And what's absolutely stupid about this fucking idea, which by the way seems to be premeditated, so this can't even be blamed on Sandy, is that if this was Mike's plan all along and December didn't happen and he did this table move, guess what? Sure, Daisy follows Mike, Abby and Paolo follow Daisy, and David follows Paolo. And then they invite Lucy, because in case you forgot, she's their friend too. Also, I just noticed Mike completely forgot about Susan. That's kind of fucked up, dude. But not as fucked up as this. Seriously, that's a fucking low blow. That and so fucking judgy. I guess we now know where Abby learned to stoop so low while grandstanding on his high horse. And yes, I have heard the "my hormones" and "they're just kids" excuses, but none of that really explains why the fuck does Mike care. Do you seriously care if Lucy, as you would put it, leeches off of Paolo? He's like one of the top offenders for people who actually abused you. The motherfucker sicked a gaggle of girls to beat up on you for being a quote-unquote cheater. Or are you worried because if Lucy clings to Paolo, then it ruins your foolproof plan of going to another table since she'll follow Paolo? Oh no, we found a hole in your ingenious plan. But speaking of worst offenders, this fucking line, I don't care who you are. I don't care what the fuck you think. You do not come back from saying this. You cannot fucking say this shit and then be the good guy. This is the point where I and many others realized that Mike was far too gone. And yet, some people will still argue about this shit. Oh, you don't understand, Amazill. He's just a stupid 16-year-old ball of emotions and hormones. This has been building up this entire time. You even pointed out how Mike's frustrations have been hinted at since the vacation arc. Obviously, this has been hinted at for years. You're just too ignorant to understand what Mike's been doing here. Of course he's being overly cruel here. He feels backed into a corner and is facing off against his abuser. Now listen here, you may be right. I hope, and I am grateful that I don't fully understand how it feels to be abused for all my life. But what I do know is that no one, child, teenager, or adult, would fucking stoop that fucking low and think they have any business, any chance of coming back from that terribly burnt bridge. No one is that fucking ignorant. When you burn a bridge like that, when you go that far, you better fucking be ready to live with the consequences. And Mike at this point should know very well what the consequences may include. As the person who knows Lucy more than anyone else about Lucy, he should be fully aware what she is going to fucking do when told that she is a parasite and that no one fucking loves her. What the fuck did you expect she was going to do, Mike?
Why? Am I all you got?
Oh,
You are so damn selfish and transparent, clinging to me like the only one who cares about you, pushing everyone else away because you think they're only interested in your looks.
Jesus Christ, he's literally using her deepest secrets and hidden insecurities that only he knows about against her. How the fuck do you support this shit? And furthermore, like I'm the only one who cares about you, to quote you literally a fucking page ago.
Face it, your dumb rebound doesn't even love you. Nobody does. Why would they? You're a parasite.
You fucking told her that nobody loves her and that she's a fucking parasite. How are you this fucking stupid? How can you still think that you're in the right? How do other people still think you're in the right? How can you stoop so fucking low while grandstanding on your high horse? Now, oh wait, let me scroll up a bit. Don't want to spoil that. Now, imagine if you will, after 2 months of reading December, you sit there and you wonder, what is going to happen now? What is left to say? What more is Mike going to do? I mean, there's no way this chapter can get any worse. There's no way that Mike can be any more of an asshole. It's not possible. And as if to get one last knife twist out of you, to kill the last shred of hope you had that maybe, just maybe this could be salvaged. And Mike can't be worse. Teshi does this. All right. Boys, I'm going to scroll down. I require all eyes on the screen for this. You ready?
oh boy.
Me too.
Yes, yes. because this
We're
is
gonna see-
the magnum opus. This is the
We're gonna
best.
finally see their
I'm
tits.
waiting
I'm
with
ready. I'm excited.
anticipation.
Oof,
All right,
oof,
all
oof.
right. Naira, you're gonna be on point.
Mom's home. That means I
say
can
it.
tell her the news.
Right after. There is nothing cut from that. That is the top of the page. That is the next panel.
Amazon, I'm
Yeah.
gonna have a mini rant right here. What the fuck did you do? Okay, so you presented a lot of this stuff out of context to us during that one rant.
Yeah.
What the fuck, man? Like,
Hey, I saved you from this bit. All right. Oh wait, no. I actually put that in the golden hour rant, like at the end, as a joke.
it made no sense. And now, what is this? What? Why? No. I don't end stuff like this with a fucking no.
Wait, is this supposed to be a joke?
Yes.
That's
Yes.
terrible. This doesn't even come across as a joke. Like it's
Well,
just
It's the most mean-spirited fucking joke in this comic. I want it framed. I want it hung on a poster. They're ranking a fucking omnibus. I mentioned it in earlier in the rants where they changed the line in confrontation. So Teshi is currently doing a redraw of all of volume 1 through 3. And this chapter is in volume 3. So she's going to end up redrawing this whole scene, this whole chapter. And I swear to God, I want this page. I want this panel. This fucking page. I want it printed. I want it printed on canvas. I want it hung up on my wall to hold for the rest of my life. I want to stare at it to remind me why I fucking hate this comic. And to preserve it. Because there's a chance that it's not going to be in the fucking thing again. And I want to make sure we remember she fucked us. She fucked us this hard.
I've heard less mean-spirited jokes from Aqua Teen Hunger Force at its worst. I just want to point that out. This is
you look at that panel and tell me there's a god.
This infuriates me. So I'm a visual novel fan, right? And there's some really fucking sad ones. And you know what this one author really, really loves to do? He loves to leave you with the last scene in tears. So I'm sitting there in tears, and then the credits roll, and there's super happy music playing.
Yeah.
And it pisses me off every time. This is the equivalent of that. I just had my heart ripped out, and now I've got this happy fucking scene. No.
You can't even come your fucking sad boner. You got a ruined climax. It's what it is.
Yes.
This is fucking honest to God, this is some Anthony Birch level fucking writing. This makes me think of something I would read or listen to out of Borderlands 2.
Oh yeah.
I was gonna say they could have plagiarized Anthony Birch for this.
I love you guys. Have I ever said that before?
Okay, my mini rant is over. I'm assuming you're gonna cut all that out.
Oh no, that's
it's staying in.
You fool! That's
I'm the
why I
producer,
have
it's
you
staying
guys
in.
here.
I have never. I just want to say I have never read this comic, and I'm impressed at the level of fury and pain that I am experiencing from seeing this all out of context and only getting your explanation.
And it's not better with the context. I'm telling you, it's not much better. To be fair, this is more. The comic itself is more. It's played more as a comedy drama. So like the romance and stuff that's there, and then there's like comedic beats and little storylines and stuff like that. This is just it turning from a drama to a soap opera. And
I was gonna say, look. I don't think all of it is good, right? But like, BoJack Horseman is a dramedy. It's a comedy drama. Yeah, well, I liked it less the longer it went on, but that's typical for a Netflix show. That show is like gut wrenching, like really like just like disheartening like scenes that like make you want to cry.
Yeah.
And then it ends with the episode just ending and it plays the theme song, which is pretty cheery.
Yeah.
But like it's 100% in line with the show and the joke.
Yeah.
This isn't even on that. This is just so again, I've said it probably twice now, but this is so stupid.
Oh yeah. The worst part is that it's not even tone deaf, because tone deaf implies that Teshi doesn't understand the gravity of this situation or thing that she's writing. No, she fully understands. She's just a fucking asshole.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's no tone where this kind of shift works.
Yeah.
There's no writing. There's nothing. You cannot remove this scene from this comic, place it anywhere else, and have it work. This is just horrible.
Yeah. But on the subject of BoJack Horseman, just to maybe it quickly, and I swear to God, this is actually related. All I know about BoJack Horseman is because I've been binging this one YouTuber, Shady Do-Rags, and I fucking love him. I love his stuff, and I specifically bring him up because the bit where I mentioned that Mike has a victim complex, or it's a victim mentality, rather. That's the proper verbiage. That stuff, he goes into that a lot, and he explains like how it's a very detrimental and a bad thing for a lot of people to have, and it's not something that you should look at. Do not call Mike right. He is wrong.
Well, yeah, no, that's just really quickly, because that's the point of BoJack's character. He constantly makes himself out to be the victim, and it's portrayed in the show as like a horrible, detrimental thing that brings everyone around him down.
Yeah. Exactly.
BoJack is a victim, though.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's more of like letting yourself be the victim and accept and not taking responsibility for your own actions. That's what the victim mentality part comes from. You know, I once heard a story that someone actually killed themselves over BCB. And I completely believe that. 2 whole months we spent having to watch week after week as this character we cared about rips apart the other character we've spent so much time learning about, growing with, understanding, and learning to love. And how do you end this chapter? Grindingly slow, with Lucy throwing up and then eyeing Mike's phone, followed by a nothing page where Mike's happy, and another page where Mike goes to his room, dialogue that means nothing, we're not even going to read that, and a whole fucking page of Lucy leaving. More fucking snow, and one last lie. And that, kids, is the chapter of December, the most infamous chapter in all of Bittersweet Candy Bowl. And I hope you're starting to understand why that is the case. Although I'm sure a lot of you may have some contentions, especially given the newer chapters that have come out. I mean, I often compare bad or infuriating scenes to December, and many may wonder or feel like those chapters are worse than December. I mean, sure, Mike ripping it to Lucy is bad, but what about the one-sided and almost carbon copy of December and Golden Hour? Or what about Guest of Honor with its Abby smash? And what about the second coming of the Carnival chapter with its disgusting implications? Or, lest we all forget, the wondrous return of Lucy herself in Love Again. All of these chapters are fucking terrible in their own right, and it's debatable how they ruin some characters worse than December. But there's one very important factor that is lost to us now, that makes December, in my eyes, worse than any other chapter that Teshi has put out. One singular thing makes December worse than anything Teshi has come out with so far. And what is that factor? Time, my dear reader. Time is what sets December apart from every other chapter. Readers at the time had to spend 3 whole months waiting for this chapter to end. We stared at each singular page for days, waiting hours on end, hoping that the next page would somehow be better or give us an out. Instead, it got worse and worse and worse. But what also sets it apart from all those other chapters I've mentioned is that, unlike Guest of Honor, Golden Hour, or Return to Carnival chapter, December was a very important moment in Bittersweet Candy Bowl. Not only because of how it changed the character, but because it is one of the only times in this fucking comic where the plot actually starts to develop, and we finally get a clear conflict to grasp onto and focus on. In the chapters that came before December, the conflict of Mike and Lucy was just slowly getting worse and worse, and for the most part, it just seemed to stagnate, with Lucy trying to keep her distance from Mike, and Mike constantly giving Lucy the cold shoulder, and everyone else having to deal with that. December was meant to be, and it did succeed in becoming a bombshell chapter. A big revelation moment where things finally kick into high gear, like, oh man, that was brutal. What's gonna happen now? Sandy is coming. Lucy just got fucking wrecked. What is she gonna do? Tessie just dropped the biggest bomb on top of us. Where is she gonna take us? How are we gonna follow up this momentum? Wait, I wasn't done.
Abby, it's fine. I can do it.
By releasing one of the longest, most needless chapters ever. 48 fucking pages, almost 4 months dedicated to a plot point that has absolutely nothing to do with the giant nuclear bombshell that was just dropped on us. And it's especially needless because the entire point of this chapter is to tell us that Abby's mom died, except that we already thought she was dead. Oh, you mean this character who all we knew about was that she was in a terribly abusive marriage and we have not heard from her since Abby was introduced into the comic, who was in such a terrible state that she left her son and daughter orphaned? You mean the person so fucked up that the last time we saw them was on a fucking stretcher is dead? Say it ain't so. It would have actually been more of a twist and a lot more interesting if we found out Abby's mom was actually alive. Instead of building off the fucking momentum that you just set up, we got strung along for 48 fucking pages. Instead of focusing on Lucy and using December as a launching point to drive the fucking plot, all of the momentum is ground to a fucking halt in service of a plot point that ultimately doesn't fucking matter. And if you made it through that and was hoping, okay, now we can start to get into the actual plot, now we can focus on Lucy and what the aftermath of December is, well,
I'm afraid I've got some bad news. I knew it. I love when he does that.
After that, Chapter 70, Piece of Cake. Paolo tries to give a cake to Lucy, and he mostly fails, giving us nothing! Chapter 71, Just Beautiful, the one chapter where it would be okay to not give all the attention to Mike and Lucy's relationship. The one chapter where we could maybe get to see Sandy be a character. Mike x Lucy's fucked. Maybe we can find comfort in Mike x Sandy. Maybe we can have some sweet moments and strengthen this central love triangle that we've been dancing around for all these years. Maybe, just maybe, Sandy can be more than just a fucking plot device.
Lucy?
That's it. But nope, she's just there to be used so that Mike can realize that he was wrong and feel bad so he can try to make it up to Lucy. Too bad it's too late. So if you were looking to have character development either from Lucy or Sandy, I'm sorry, but you get 2 big heaping servings of nothing. Chapter 72, Buddy System. And if you thought you were starving for content now, brace yourself for a 1-page chapter that gives you nothing. And I hope you fucking like that 1 page because you're going to have to look at it for 4 whole months. Although, to be fair, I think during that hiatus period, Tashi had guest comics and exclusive content to keep us occupied, but you get the point. As for the rest of chapters, 73, 10 Seconds to Midnight, Paolo breaks up with Jasmine in the most hackneyed fucking way possible, and we get a fake out of Lucy's suicide attempt. Chapter 74, Curtain Call. We finally get the play chapter, and it teases us with the idea that Lucy and Mike are getting better, except that no one falls for it because it's in the play, and we all know that it's just an act, and it's fucking
nothing! Absolutely nothing! Stupid! You're so stupid!
Chapter 75, Breaking Up, and then Lucy finally attempts suicide, and it's all off screen. They killed off the main character, the one fucking bit that we were all looking forward to, and it's off screen. Do you see what I mean now? December isn't just a fucking chapter, it's an arc. the most teeth-grindingly slow and agonizing arc Teshi ever made. This is why December is and always will be the absolute fucking worst. It's like Teshi knew what we wanted and refused to deliver, instead being content with teasing the readers over and over for almost 2 years with the prospect of seeing Lucy go through a depression arc. Instead, we're focused on literally everyone else, and all of Lucy's inner turmoil, heartbreak, thoughts, and progressions are just hinted at, and we're just left in the dark. We never get to see Lucy in her final moments. What was she doing? What was she thinking? Where was she? How was she doing? We wouldn't get that information for nearly 4 years. And then it was all so bullshit. December is like a nuclear warhead of a bombshell that was dropped on us, except instead of going off and blowing us away, sending us to the greater planes, it just leaked radiation everywhere and killed us from the inside slowly. Its carbon footprint can be felt to this very day, and we can't get over December, because the comic itself cannot get over December. People who wanted to see Lucy become a better person, to see her try to get better, get help, or do something, would never get that relief. When I thought about December and how it treated its characters, I felt sorry for all the people who had to read this, who felt for Lucy, who wanted to see her get better. I felt bad because I knew deep down that we were never going to get that story. And so I'll take this brief moment to pause for comment.
I was about to ask because, I mean, it maybe it's just me, but it comes across as the author wanted to do this depression arc, but then realized they had no idea how to write it, and so they just they wrote themselves into a fucking corner that they didn't know how to get out of.
Yeah, that is another theory. That is one thing that I had thought about, like when it came out, because of the way that it was. Because instead of like just taking that momentum and driving forward, is like skirt around it. What are we doing? And just didn't know how to really handle it. I thought also that it could be more that they went too hard too fast, because they wanted Mike to, because throughout those chapters that I mentioned, like as I mentioned with Just Beautiful, like that in that chapter, Mike starts to be like, oh no, I was wrong. Now I'm gonna try and now I feel bad, and I'm gonna try and make it up to Lucy. But like I said in the whole rant, it's like, you've gone too far. There's no way that any person would say those words and think that there was a chance to come back from that. There's nothing. There's no way you can recover at all. And even like in the future chapters, it tries to downplay it. Like but we talked about it in the first rant, when we finally learn what Lucy was thinking. Like, she doesn't even mention December. She's like, it was played more that it was about like her moving away or being sent off or some shit. And I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure it was the parasite thing. I kind of think it's that part, or at least that's a big factor of it. But yeah, it's but what we were also thinking is, because you mentioned loss earlier, Ray, right?
That terrible comic where the guy goes to meet his wife who just had a miscarriage.
Yes.
Yeah, that one.
Well, I actually, when that came out and everyone was memeing it, I actually didn't have too much of a problem with it, because I understood what it meant from a writer's standpoint. It was Tim Buckley realizing that he kind of fucked himself, because that the entire bit before that, were the few pages before that in Control Alt Delete. So if I remember the Ethan and Layla, I believe is their names. Yeah, Ethan and Layla's relationship starts, and Layla gets pregnant, and and it's meant to set up this whole thing where they're gonna have a baby, and that's gonna be and Tim Buckley's like trying to put a serious hat on, trying to be like, I'm gonna make this like a serious, like have a little more grounded. It's not just gonna be a silly, stupid comic about video games. We're gonna have like characters and shit. It's gonna be serious. And then he realized, wait a second, I don't know how to do that. But I've already kind of fucking set up that we're gonna do this. Fuck it, kill the baby. Fuck it, it's not even a real baby. You know what? It doesn't matter. And so he dodged that bullet. They never touch it again. They're able to go back to the safe route of being a comedy. The problem is,
So it's literally a case of cutting off a few fingers to save the whole hand.
Exactly. And it made him a fucking bigger meme. So I mean, hey, it's not that bad. But another theory I have with December is that it's what happens if you take that and you can't. It's too late. She tried to cut off the fingers like one by one, but she did it too fucking slow, and now the whole fucking arm's gone. We cannot recover. We're dead. It's gangrenous.
I was gonna say, man, gangrene spreads fast, man. You gotta lop that off sooner, or otherwise you're gonna be losing a lot more than just a few fingers.
Oh yeah.
I feel like I'm getting there. Getting here.
There. I'm sorry, that was a misspell for me.
I feel like I'm getting there. I've been getting help, seeing other people, and I even got a new table.
So I did it myself. Don't act surprised, you knew I was going there. I literally warned you. There's no way in hell I'm going to talk about December without bringing up the comic I literally made because of December in January. And this time we're looking at January as a whole. Because now that you know why and what I hate about December, you can start to see why January was made the way it was. I feel the need to explain this because January still gets a bad rap by people saying that it's hate-filled, which it's not. January is not a death threat, nor is it meant to say I'm better than you. It's not a love note to BCB, it's a get well soon card. Not necessarily saying that I can do it better, but rather this is what you could have done. Whether or not it's better is up to you to decide, and with that context, you can see why January was written the way it was. It all starts with one simple change. Instead of just outright removing December, the only thing I changed was that Mike didn't get paired with Lucy and throw a fit. It doesn't spitefully act like December never happened. In fact, December plays out the exact same way it did in the canon, just with Susan supplementing for Lucy. So Sandy's still coming home, Mike's still pissed at Lucy, and he's planning on moving to a new table to get away from her. But because Lucy's not there, she's able to fucking do something. We get to see her try. We get to see her fail. We see how Mike's plan comes to fruition. We see how things fall apart even with Lucy's best efforts. We see how December still takes its toll. We get to see her snap out of it briefly. We see her at her lowest point. We see what she's thinking and why she's doing what she's doing. We see her try to figure out what to do. We see her picking up the pieces. We see her take action to improve herself. We see her getting help. We see her taking action. We see her getting better. We see everyone come together to support her. And we see her at the end of the journey come to terms with what she's done and wanting to improve not only herself but her friendship with Mike. She shows maturity, empathy, and most importantly, growth as a character. And in the end, the reader never gets to see how Mike and Lucy end up talking things out, but they can rest easy knowing that everything is going to be okay. And if that's hate-filled, I don't know what the fuck you'd call the canon's handling of Lucy in the December arc. The fact we never got to see Lucy try, the fact the comic kept dicking us around and baiting us with the inevitable, the fact it kept fucking baiting us with false hope, the fact we didn't get to even see her at the end of the line, the fact we had to wait 3 years for her to come back and let us know that she's even alive, the fact that when she does come back, she's a horrible cunty shell of a person she once was. That is why December is the most infamous chapter in all of Bittersweet Candy Bowl. Not just because of what it did, but because of what it didn't do. Because it promised the end to Mike and Lucy's drama one way or another. It promised us that we were going to tackle these issues that Mike brought up in Lucy. But yet, here we are.
And honestly, I'm glad. There's nothing more to say. I shouldn't have listened in the first place.
Back to square fucking one. You know what they say? Those who don't know their history are doomed to repeat it. So you better brush up on your December knowledge, or at least I hope this rant serves as a good refresher. Because from the looks of it, we've been repeating these plot points for almost 10 years. You know, I thought I was crazy there for a second, obsessing and never getting over December for all these years. But now I see, the comic never moved on from it. We've never recovered. We've been stuck in December for almost 10 years. We are going to be stuck repeating the points of December for 10 years. Maybe even more. 0 out of 10. Never forget. The ride never ends. And that's it. That is the rant. We did it. We did it, boys.
It is.
9 out of 11 would commit atrocities again.
So, thoughts?
420 would smoke again.
Whoa.
Yeah, I hate this. This is awful. I don't know anything about this comic. I don't know anything about these characters. Reading this, I've always hated this plot point. It's always unrealistic to me. It's always fucking poorly handled. Here it's probably the poorest I've ever seen it handled.
But my hormones, they're just kids. They don't know any better. They're fucking
teenagers don't act like this. You need to touch grass. You need to actually go to a fucking high school, not creepily, and actually see how teenagers act, because they don't act like this. Fuck you. If you think they do, you have been an adult for too long.
I am 22 and this is how kids at my high school acted.
Like a certain culture. How white was your school?
I don't know. I think he's the whitest one in that school.
We had 1,700 kids in total.
Naira's an albino. They act weird around him.
And 14 of them were black.
Ah.
Ooh.
You know, I take it back. And maybe this is sexist, but the only people I ever saw act like this were the girls.
Could be too.
I went to an all-boys school, so I didn't see none of this shit.
Yeah.
If you tried to pull shit like this, you got reported to the counselor because you're like a school shooter.
Yeah. Surprisingly, we haven't gotten there yet. I'm not holding out.
Oh man.
I don't think it's likely, but I'm not saying that it's not gonna happen.
Let's vote which character it's gonna be though.
There's a few options now. There are a few options.
Mike seems like a good candidate. He's ready to shoot up a school.
Could happen.
Yeah. I don't know.
Amzil, why did you have me do that? Just like, why?
Because I needed a man with a normie voice. I could have done it. I probably could have.
You do have a very straight man voice, Naira.
I do.
It's because Danimal wasn't here.
You would have had Danimal do Mike?
Wait, we were gonna get Danimal to do the straight man?
Yeah, he did Roy. He did a great Roy.
We talked about this. Danimal sounds very straight.
I disagree. I think you're missing something.
Hold on. Amzil, pull up some of those lines and have Danimal do them. I wanna hear this.
All right, Magic Man Dan, let's go here. Okay, let me there we go.
Hold on. He says he's not talking.
This bitch. Wait, okay, just say this to your boyfriend, because I know your husband. I'm sorry. Say this to your husband while he's in there. Specifically this line. Do it.
He won't do it.
No balls. No balls. No.
Well, this has been an experience.
He's asleep next to me. That's like, okay, that's an acceptable excuse. You've got someone sleeping next to you.
No, that's gay.
No, Danimal. Whisper this into his ear. Face it.
It's super
Your
creepy
dumb
now.
rebound doesn't even love you.
Mhm.
Nobody does. Who would they? Why would they? You're a parasite.
Who would they? Who would they indeed? Who would they this comic to somebody else? Who would this to another man, to another person?
Amazon would this to all of us.
I did.
Yeah, Amzil, I'm not happy, you know.
Look,
like,
I need to look. I did this because I want to make it abundantly clear
Look,
to you why I poisoned the well.
Amizel came here because he wanted therapy from all of us, and like true friends, we gave it to him. But think about it this way: there is people who are excited about this shit.
Oh yeah.
We at least knew this was going to be shit coming into this.
See, he gets it. And what's worse is that the people there are people who still like this, who eat this up. They still do to this day. There are people who are trapped in this fucking comic, and they will continue reading because they have to now. They've put too much time.
It's too much emotional investment at this point. It's the gambler's fallacy or the other one.
To quote a poet just as great as Shakespeare, my disappointment is immeasurable and my day is ruined.
To quote the great poet Ice Cube, if the day does not require an AK, then it is good. Ah, there it is, Dad. Ah, he's found the shit poster's gold. The madman.
What the fuck, Daniel? God damn it.
Hey. Yeah. There's only 2 people or 3 people who stay on this. One are the people that really like this because they feel a very close emotional connection to these characters and the situations that they're in. They are the happiest people, but they are the saddest in story. Then there are the shit posters who are here to watch it all burn, and they cannot help but laugh. Then there's
we call them hate watchers now, and I would totally hate watch this comic, to be honest.
Oh yeah, it's wonderful. And then there's the third category, the people who were fooled. We were suckered in. They got us with a fucking compelling story and emotional moments and bits that actually have nice writing and well done. And then they sweep you under the leg and twist a knife every fucking time. Every fucking time. And we just cannot leave because it's too late. We are the most stupid of them all.
That's so
Stanton,
sad.
you have been very quiet this entire rant. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are that this seems like a whole lot of bad writing, all wrapped up into like something that's just it's so short-sighted feeling that it's just like it's beyond the bit of surprise. It's into just going with whatever, and at the end you're talking about how it's just going to get repetitive and it's just going to be doing the same thing, and it's just like I kind of feel like this is the same comic with a fresh coat of paint every time they do it. And it's I feel for you, man, because having something like this started with, and you're like, oh, this is going to develop, this is going to be crazy, and then you just get blue-balled every chapter. It's just got to be heartbreaking in a bad way.
Yeah. I think I want to say that I also make these rants to remind people that never lose the fire. Don't forget it, because there's a line in January that perfectly encapsulates the feeling of an old guard who's because every time Teshi will do something because she knows exactly how to fucking get you to forgive her, or be like, maybe there's hope. Maybe it's not so bad. Things are getting better. Look, this is actually a well done scene. Oh, the character's developing, and then she fucks you. She just fucks you right after, and she'll get you. She'll get you every time. There's a line that Daisy says in January, where she is about to go off on Mike and just tell him that he's an absolute asshole for Pied Pipering everyone. And he's about to say something to be like, I'm sorry or something. And Daisy's like, no, don't say it. I don't know what you're going to do. I already know. I don't know what it is, but you're going to say something. And it's going to make me forgive you. It's going to make me forget why I'm mad. And I'm not ready to do that just yet. Never forget why you're angry. Some things are worth holding on to. And the fact that and what really fucking gets me about this is that the people who are in there who love this comic, who really get into it, every single person that I've heard defend December, everyone who likes this comic, they got something going on. Like, they are not right. They are emotionally traumatized. They are emotionally unstable. They got some really bad things happen to them. And that's the worst part. The fact that your fan base is like that and you do this shit to them, that is the most fucked up of it all. And that's why we do the rants.
Are we gonna wrap it up? Because I gotta get to bed.
Yeah, I'm gonna. That being said, I think this is a much better rant. This is a lot better. I don't know about you guys. I feel good.
I had fun.
Oh, yeah.
Wonderful. Anyway, this has been till next time. I should all join us next time, as we are going to be going into the month of December special, in which we are going to be reading all of the webcomics. Well, not all of them, but a handful of comics from Dumb. And you want to join us for that one? It's gonna be really cool. We're gonna go into 3 a week schedule, and we're gonna have an interview. It's gonna be amazing. And then in January, we're gonna fucking read an actually good furry comic, and it's gonna trigger the shit out of Teshi. No, it's not Bittersweet Candy Bowl. God, no. We're not reading that until the comic is over or someone dies. That's the only time. Those are the 2 win conditions, and that's it. Till then, this has been Amazil and the boys. Time to say goodbye, boys.
Bye,
Goodbye.
boys.
Bye, boys.
Uh.
I apologize.
9/11 bad.